the United States may be in worse condition due to the closure of the coronavirus. Bringing the economy back will be a challenge to take on the associated health risks. There will be fewer people everywhere, said Nick Colas, co-founder of DataTrack Research. These are their restaurants, bars, sports and everything. Expect a faster return to domestic travel, which may seem clear. Restaurants and retailers will face a variety of challenges. Some parts of the country have returned to the internet, but major states, including Pennsylvania, are still largely closed. Goldman Sachs said the first sectors will be manufacturing, professional services and agriculture, healthcare, education, retail, arts and entertainment, and hospitality are the most dangerous and ultimate. Grand Prix, Georgia barbershop reopened in 200,427. A hairdresser wearing a protective mask cuts the customers' hair at a barbershop in Atlanta, Georgia on Monday, April 27th. Dustin Chambers, Bloomberg via Getty Images. When the coronavirus crisis is over, or at least the worst, the U.S. economy will remain the largest economy in the world. But in other ways, things will look smaller and actually look much smaller. The growth rates will be lower. There will be few people. Profit margins will be tougher. Life will go on in many ways, but there won't be one thing, not for long. Much of what becomes everyday life contradicts instinct. Society will find ways to move forward. However, this will consider that the shock caused by 7 weeks of social alienation and separating this scholar Rami was not repeated. There will be fewer people everywhere, said Nick Colas, Wall Street veteran and co-founder of DataTrack Research. These are their restaurants, bars, sports and everything. The size of the world and the size of a task will be important when policy makers try to put together a dysfunctional economy. It enables layoffs because booming companies are closed indefinitely. The manufacturing sector is suffering from a severe recession. It can take years for retail and restaurants to return to normal. And the government will, because the world feels really small. Big ideas will be needed to move the United States. We are social animals. When formulating investment strategies and market analysis, Colas spends a lot of time studying social trends, how behavior patterns allow us to use our money, and how we perceive our lives. In one day, he could write about brain teasers using game theory. The next review of how you do in a recently published Daily Memo. How long it takes for people to develop new habits: 66 days. Apparently a useful number if you look at the current full degree. Looking at the social distance, Colas shows that some of the key trends are increasing. Expect a faster return to domestic travel, which may seem clear. Restaurants and retailers will face a variety of challenges, including, for example, how to arrange seats and what happens in clothing stores if the sport continues. But fans mostly watch from home. All of this will take place against a backdrop that forces people to keep a safe space away from each other, which is very contrary to the culture of Middle East. It is very difficult because it conflicts with the most basic human need for social contact, said Colas. This current phase has been very tough for people, especially in areas like New York where many singles live alone. You will want to call. That is human nature, that is the human spirit. It will be difficult to withhold this without mental disorders. Small steps. The regions of the country are taking the first steps, albeit with great caution, to normalize themselves. New York reopens parts of the state while Mississippi eased restrictions. Idaho is entering the first phase of relaxation in the homestay system. Arizona and Nevada extended their policies until May 15th but relaxed some rules. You can now play golf in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, but most of Keystone is still closed. Sun, 2016 across the country are taking reservations for June. The reopened areas will be fish ponds for those who want to relax restrictions. They also provide insight into the speed at which the U.S. economy is returning from $21.5 trillion. GDP shrank 4.8% in the first quarter of 2020, the worst decline since the Great Recession. And over 30 million people applied for unemployment benefits, making progress on normalization more important earlier. It's going to be a problem. Can you make people feel that the new normal looks like an old normal? Said Kolas. You should feel a lot better in the end because part of your normal life is back. At least you can hang out with your friends in the backyard while maintaining social distance. But at least people will come back. How this can be implemented in economic activities remains uncertain. Shaping the future, economists thought of a recovery. Would it be you? Fifth, W checkmark, SQRT, Nike swoosh. Nobody seems to know. Although the immediate forecast is that after the first quarter decline, and AA number will be released in the second quarter. Indeed, GDP can be very bad, something based on the 20% collapse or worse, and the PCE. Unemployment rate, everything from 15% to 30% seems perfectly possible until it becomes meaningless. The most important thing is the way forward. Most economists expect a strong recovery after the second quarter. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said he saw a somewhat sharp rise in the fall, which he believes will likely not get us back to pre-crisis levels. That is all in theory. In practice, the country has to move again. Estimating the points for GDP is not really valuable at the moment, said Maureen Gajiga, partner of the Boston Consulting Group, which helps companies develop strategies to reopen companies in a changing landscape. And the variance by sector is enormous. I've already seen what this does to airlines, cruise ships, workers, music parties, workers, and every place where so many people live. They're trying to figure out how they came back and what they're doing to change them to survive. Gaga also sees a landscape dominated by smaller social gatherings. On a business level, this means shopping and eating near home. This is beneficial for small retailers and local restaurants. But there are still questions about joint ventures that come to me. We have never seen the effects of a recession that looked like this with such a variation in impact by sector, and Gargoyle said. Gaga, the level of diversity is really unique. We have to find a way to navigate it. Boston Consulting report entitled COVID-19, Win the Fight. Win the Future describes what companies need to do. Gedger emphasized that different regions will have different needs. New York will not be like Montana, which will not be identical to Michigan. However, certain general rules apply. He said that among the contingencies companies need to consider before opening or employing: customer safety, preparation for additional closings, and health monitoring of workers preparing for their return. Move forward. These questions are of the utmost importance for the travel industry. The World Travel and Tourism Council, which represents the industry that may be most